Topping this week's Fox 26 crime files, authorities in Montgomery County are searching for a mother who's accused of leaving her two young children home alone for nearly 2 months. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle found that mother and shares their interesting exchange.
Yes, I did speak with her briefly. She said through text that she hired a nanny, but police say that there was no evidence that anyone was here to take care of these children.
Our officer looked at the bedrooms, like of a 3-year-old, it wasn't the best condition. It smelled like urine.
Some of the details police found inside of this home in the Roman Forest neighborhood are shocking. On November 14th, a man called the Roman Forest Police Department and said his 12-year-old daughter had been home alone with her 3-year-old brother since September 28th. Most of the time without food or medical supplies. The father, who lives in California, believes the children's mother, Raven Yates, abandoned them. Weeks before, he didn't suspect anything.
The father had been contacted later on, saying that the mother was at work and stuff like that, and asked if he'd send food, and it didn't arouse any suspicion to him that, he just figured she was working, so he'd do food by app.
But it was when the father was contacted by Raven's mother in Mobile, Alabama. Police say the mother spotted Raven in town without the children. The 12-year-old then told her father they were indeed alone.
And the 12-year-old said, September 28th, her mom had left and she'd be back by Thanksgiving.
But Raven has not been back. Police here and in Mobile have been searching for the woman, but she has not returned to the home or returned their calls. She has, however, been very active on social media. She considers herself an entrepreneur and aspiring entertainer. I reached out to Raven via text, where her first reply was, "He's trying to kill me," referring to the father of her children and ex-husband. When asked about the kids being left alone, she says, quote, "I hired a nanny while I was away. My dad is on life support. I had to take care of him too." Police say the father flew in from California to be with the children who were not registered in school. Raven faces counts of abandonment and child endangerment, a felony. Despite our messages and her post, police are still searching for the woman for answers on why these children were left alone.
We've got a lot of messages we hadn't gone through yet, so we're hoping that some of these messages might actually be somebody that actually knows her.
Well, the good news is that the 12-year-old and 3-year-old are okay. They're safe, and they're with the grandmother in Mobile, along with their 14-year-old sibling. Reporting from the Roman Forest area, Sherman DeSalle, Fox 26 News.
Well, dressed in high heels to pull off kidnappings and robberies, Houston police busted a woman they say was doing just that. Here's Fox 26's Dominique Keith.
Caught on surveillance video showing a note, then demanding money. This nearly 60-year-old isn't exactly the image you picture when you think of a robber, particularly in this footage where she's running away wearing slacks and high heels, which is why the FBI began calling her the high-heeled hijacker. Katie Aden had to learn the hard way. Robbers come in all shapes, sizes, ages, and genders.
She was like, "I have a gun and give me all your money."
It was a Tuesday in November when Aden was leaving the Galleria Mall.
And I was putting stuff into my vehicle, and this woman just kind of appeared out of nowhere behind me.
Aden says that woman is who she now knows to be 58-year-old Lisa Coleman. She says she gave Coleman the $100 in her pocket.
"That's all I have." And she was like, "Well, empty your purse. You have to have more money. You have to have more money."
The woman, she says, took her purse and found another $60. Soon, Aden found herself not only being robbed, but also kidnapped after Aden says Coleman got into the back seat of her SUV, took her cell phone, and forced her to drive to 4 ATMs trying to get more money.
I could tell that she was kind of desperate for money.
Coleman was arrested Thursday and appeared in court a few hours ago. Aden is said to have been one of Coleman's first victims. In December, just before Christmas, investigators say Coleman also robbed a bank, a hotel, and a sandwich shop, all on Westheimer, days apart.
Pretty much any time you have someone taking money from somebody else, one of your motives is going to be greed. So that's my best guess as to the motive in this case, is Miss Coleman decided that something that was somebody else's, she had a greater right to possess it.
Now this story, puppies abandoned or just thrown away floating in a cooler down a bayou. This happened in Liberty County. Fox 26's Matthew Seedorf meeting exclusively with the puppies, now sharing their unlikely story of survival.
There's like 7 puppies in this cooler and they're soaking wet.
Heartbreaking moments in a southeast Texas swamp. Puppies stacked in an ice chest filled with muck.
Hold on.
At least one crying for help.
Somebody dumped them, and they either ended up in the pond due to flood water or they were dumped in the pond.
William Riggard's still upset by the disturbing discovery.
It's a senseless act.
He heard the cries Wednesday while walking near his home in Kennefic,
There's the lid right there.
recording as he moved closer to the cooler.
I thought I heard a baby crying.
8 young dogs soaking wet and shivering.
Oh, there's one in the water.
2 other puppies close by in the water, dead.
I just want them to go to homes. They deserve homes. People deserve puppies. They didn't deserve that.
We had them bring them to us so that we could check them out and get them seen by veterinary care.
The precious pups given to Rescue Texas,
Here's a little girl. We're estimating her to maybe be like a shepherd mix.
a nonprofit on a mission to help animals.
We were pretty concerned yesterday when we got them. It definitely sounded like they had water in their lungs, but today they're sounding a lot better once they got dried, cleaned up, and full bellies. It did make it.
Puppies possibly from 2 separate litters,
He probably is hungry.
likely only between 3 and 5 weeks old.
We'll foster them, and then once they have all their vaccinations and they're ready to go under a spay-neuter contract, we'll get them adopted out.
The young dog's now warm and happy, ready for a new life after getting dumped in a swamp like trash.
I can be a very angry man, and if I would have known who did it, I'd probably be talking to you from a jail cell right now.
All right, go ahead and take a look at these pictures right here. Were these goats dumped by someone at a Target store? Well, they were corralled. They were right there in the entrance of the Target. This was off Cypresswood Drive. One of them kind of looking at the camera, maybe a little confused. The other relaxing, sprawled out against the door. One person already sharing the video on TikTok of the goats in their temporary holding cell, if you will. A while after this video was handed over to Harris County Livestock, police do want to know if this was a prank or maybe something more serious. A 19-year-old accused robber who caused a lockdown at a Southwest Side High School was out of jail on bond, we've learned. Fox 26's Randy Wallace with that story.
Parents wanted to know how 19-year-old Muhammad Odu Sila was able to run into Wisdom High School last Thursday while running from police, causing a lockdown. He's a student. That's how he gained entry, said HISD. Here's something the district didn't tell everyone about Sila.
He was on multiple bonds. First bond he got was for evading arrest. Second bond was really serious. It was an aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon where he and 3 other co-defendants were jacking people up in a parking garage in Chinatown.
In my 20-something years of being a lawyer, I've never seen someone who is on bond and who is in school be allowed to return to that school.
Not only was Sila free from jail on bond since last September, he was ordered to wear an ankle monitor.
But he's allowed certain conditions. One of the conditions was that he can be in school.
When we asked HISD what its policy is regarding students free from jail on bond, we were told to look up Chapter 37 of the Texas Education Code.
What they normally do is they send them to alternative school so they can continue with their education, and it makes the faculty at their original school feel safer, students feel safer, parents feel safer.
I also know from my years of experience that they're sent to an alternative high school because they're on bond.
So if HISD is claiming students out on bond go to alternative schools, then why was Sila still a student at Wisdom High?
Obviously, that didn't happen because he was obviously still a student at Wisdom High School because he buzzed in.
I do understand the presumption of innocence, but as a parent, I would like to know if there's someone on bond for a violent offense being allowed to be in a class next to my child. I think that any parent would want to be notified.
Randy Wall.
Well, police shoot up a woman's home looking for a wanted person, but the problem is it was the wrong house. Fox 26's Shelby Rose with that story.
The sound of rubber bullets flying through doors and windows in the middle of the night on January 22nd sent the Rios family into panic as the Galveston police SWAT team waited outside.
I was scared, screaming.
This home security footage shows the Rioses walking out of the home slowly with their hands up, where they were detained in the back of patrol cars. without any idea why they were there.
I literally kept asking my son, what is going on? What is going on? I had no idea. And he's like, Mom, I don't know. I don't know. And we were just in a panic.
I was in there for a couple minutes. I was still having an anxiety attack and I needed to throw up, and they let me step out. And then they further then told me that they were only looking for Cameron, nothing else.
The suspect in question, 17-year-old Cameron Vargas. He had an arrest warrant in connection with the January 20th murder of Malik Dunn. But Vargas wasn't in the home. He was later arrested and held on a $250,000 bond. But to make matters worse, police got the wrong guy, and those charges were dropped on the 25th. Vargas's family sent a statement to Fox 26 saying in part, "We are completely disappointed in GPD and their investigative process. This has been a traumatizing experience that no one should ever go through." They go on to say, Cameron is an amazing and respectful young man and did not deserve to be slandered and wrongfully accused or even seen as a suspect. Now the Galveston police chief is on leave and the department is investigating the incident. And the Rios family home is still boarded up amid costly repairs.
The window damage is $3,500. That's on top of the small damages I'm finding around the house. So, and it's not fair that I have to pay for this or anyone else should have to pay for this.
I just want justice for our home. This isn't right for what they have done and for us to having to pay up for all of this.
And the suspect in Dunn's murder is still on the loose. Reporting in Galveston, Shelby Rose, Fox 26 News.
More than a dozen women who say they have contracted an incurable sexually transmitted disease from a janitor tainting their water bottles at work. Well, they are now suing. Fox 26's Dom Lakeith with this gross story.
Is not only terrifying for them, but somewhat humiliating.
This man, Lucio Diaz, is now charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. According to these court documents, that deadly weapon is his bodily fluids.
And his disgusting actions have left many of us with permanent health concerns.
These attorneys are reading statements from the 13 women who have now contracted herpes after they say Diaz was tainting the water bottles they left in their offices when he was supposed to be cleaning the building at night when everyone was gone.
My baby asked me last time, Mom, you don't love me anymore, that's why you can't kiss me? I was never one to believe monsters existed until I was proven by humans that they exist.
When water bottles began to smell funny and sometimes had urine in them, one woman left a hidden camera on her desk, and detectives say the custodian, Diaz, is on video unzipping his pants and rubbing himself on the interior and mouth of the bottle. According to the attorneys, the building owner waited 6 days before notifying other tenants in the building, which is full of private physician practices.
Even after the building management knew about the video, they did not contact the police. Our clients did.
He was allowed to come back in. He continued to conduct himself this way. And there's, who knows how many people picked up their water bottle during that 6 days and were affected by his actions.
And that is this week's Fox 26 Crime Files.